Am I the a-hole for taking my friend to court after she kicked me out of the bridal party for cutting my hair? For my friend's 3-day wedding, I had to buy 3 different dresses, including alterations, and specific shoes which totaled over $700. She also wanted specific hairstyles for each day. Unfortunately, starting in March, my hair started to deteriorate. Due to health reasons, my hair was falling out in chunks, and in May I made the difficult decision to cut my hair. I told the bride about my decision 2 weeks before the wedding, and she didn't say anything bad. The following week, she came over to my house, and when she was about to leave, she brought up that she was concerned about my haircut, and I told her it would look good, even though I wouldn't be uniform with the other bridesmaids. The following day I received this message: after our recent conversations, I'd like to remind you of my boundaries. I've been very accommodating and graceful, but I can't allow you to disrespect me. As you know, my wedding has been something I've dreamt of for many years. Husband and I have invested a lot of money into the video and photos of this day, and as we reflect on this day and the further, we want to see our vision reflected in the memories. Since I asked each of you to be bridesmaid in 2019, I've been very clearly and very communicative in my request. The timing of your decision to cut your hair and not income in advance is very upsetting to me. I would have felt respected if you had communicated with me more than a week prior to the wedding, so we could have worked together to find a collaborative solution. Your inconsistencies have concerned me, and while I sympathize with your health concerns, I'm not willing to compromise my vision to accommodate you or anyone else when you have informed me in advance, and we could have found a better solution. Since this is something you can no longer fully commit to, I need you to please step down from participating in my wedding. This was 3 days before the wedding. I immediately sent her and her husband an invoice asking them to reimburse for the dresses and shoes, keeping in mind that one of the dresses is still in her possession even though I paid for it. Neither of them replied, and so I decided to take it. The court. I was told I was inconsistent and selfish after I spent the past 2 weeks helping her plan the wedding shower. I worked with another bridesmaid to surprise her with a bridal shower after our bachelorette trip had to be cancelled. I spent hours helping her out with wedding details. When she asked me to help her tone up before the wedding, I sent her a personalized workout program, and even went with her to the gym to show her the ropes. When I agreed to be her bridesmaid, I was more than willing to oblige with what she asked, even if at times it was a lot of time and money. So am I the a-hole for taking her to court because she kicked me out for cutting my hair? I mean, NTA, she's a massive A, and should pay you the money. She won't because she's a massive entitled A, but I am guessing you don't have any sort of written contract. Depending on the verbal contract laws where you are, I suppose you can argue that expenses were incurred on the agreement that you were in the bridal party. On the other hand, if she's been as much of a control freak Bridal as you say, she might be able to evidence that a reasonable person would know that in this wedding changing physical appearance would be seen as breach of expectations vc, by making themselves unsuitable for the bridal party. It's going to be a hell of a thing to argue successfully in court. I would seek some form of legal advice. You would have had what a lot of places would have considered a verbal contract, in that you agreed to be a bridesmaid and participate in the wedding with the understanding you would have to buy X things in order to do it. Albeit there won't be anything about reimbursement, I imagine. As for evidence, at a guess, you might have more than you think. If you have emails, messages being all to be a bridesmaid you need to buy X, and X, etc. On the other hand, if she detailed hairstyles you now can't achieve, offered a wig solution, or specified not to cut dye hair, you might be seen as in breach. Like I said, get legal advice. Right. WTF. One of my bridesmaids showed up day before my wedding to my house and had cut her hair from shoulder length to a pixie cut. I hated it. You know what I said? Not a damn thing, because I asked her to stand up there with me, not her fucking hair. So even though it wasn't my preference on her, I understood that it was not my right to demand, or in this case chastise, her hairstyle, and it wasn't even important to my wedding. Shockingly, my husband I still got married despite her haircut, and she and I are still close friends despite her obvious disrespect, per second, in case it isn't totally obvious. Also amazingly, when I look back at those pictures, I don't feel anger at all the things that went wrong, and there were a few hiccups, though her hair is not something I'd consider in that category. Lol, I feel joy remembering a day surrounded and supported by friends and family, while I married the love of my life. This terrible bride, imagine caring more about the pictures and your vision than you do about your friend's health issues. I might get downvoted, but in my opinion, your friend, Bridal is most definitely an A, and her tone attitude is terrible. Even trying to give her the benefit of the doubt that she's dealing with pre-wedding nerves and stress, it's still unacceptable. But you say that you immediately sent her an invoice. I think that further escalation to small claims could have potentially been avoided had you attempted to contact your friend and tried to work towards reimbursement first. Even something as simple as "I respect your decision and will not participate as a bridesmaid, however, I incurred some expenses for alterations and clothing. In the event that I am not able to return these items, I'd like to be reimbursed." In my opinion, jumping straight to sending them an invoice and subsequently initiating a lawsuit right before someone's wedding does make you an A as well. Good luck. Take any documentation with you, and if anyone was privy to the conversations and willing to go with you as a witness, that will only strengthen your argument. Save any texts that you think would help and have them ready. If you charge other people for the services rendered, then you can use her promise as a bridesmaid to be the payment, and when she fired you, she is owed the services. I'm not a lawyer, so take what I type with a grain of salt. But as others pointed out, you could see she was a Bridal from the start. 3 days with 3 expensive dresses and shoes. Yikes. I wonder if her second wedding will be just as elaborate. She doesn't sound like much of a friend. I don't know the history of your friendship, so I could be wrong, but she sounds petty, selfish, and like she is using you. If one of my bridesmaids from my wedding had health issues that were causing her to lose her hair, my stupid hair code for the wedding would be the last thing on my mind. A different style every day. This girl needs a wake-up call. There are much bigger things going on in the world right now than her little wedding. The least she could do is try to be a bit understanding if she's going to demand everyone in the party spend upwards of $700. Yikes. If you didn't take her to court, you could kiss that money goodbye for good. You did the right thing, absolutely NTA, and this chick sucks. NTA, and again with the boundaries. It's not an excuse to let you be a crappy human being. Yes, she has a vision and that's fine. She also needs compassion, empathy, and a freaking heart. I'm not sure my opinion would or wouldn't be the same if it wasn't precipitated by a health condition, but it doesn't sound like you purposely did it to spite her. I'm not sure where the inconsistencies come in, since it sounds like this is the only issue, but a wedding isn't an excuse to be a self-absorbed brat about the real world. The earth will continue to spin the day after they get married, and the day after that. Things return to normal and she's making irreparable decisions. NTA, I really wish people would stop missing the term boundaries. They almost never use it correctly. A boundary is an acknowledgement that you need something to keep your mental health in check. It is also your responsibility to police them. If someone makes a mistake or crosses them, it's your job to correct them. If they consistently break them, it's your job to handle it, most likely by separating yourself from them. Boundaries in this case are not boundaries. They are expectations. And expectations are almost always never met. You cutting your hair and not being uniform does nothing to endanger her mental health or well-being. In fact, it literally does not impact her at all. Narcissists like her misuse this term to gain sympathy and manipulate situations, so they start the center of attention. Take her to court and get her for pain and suffering. Also, empirically, you not open first paragraph. NTA, on general principles. Women who think their dream wedding should allow them to run roughshod over other people, insist that party members or guests obey silly standards or pay exorbitant prices, also they can have this perfect memory album, are destroying the very meaning of the wedding ceremony. It isn't supposed to be about a series of perfect pictures or outspending someone else. It is supposed to be about celebrating the union of two people with their friends and family. This bride is not respecting you, and almost certainly no one else in the party, but they are not seeing it because they are towing the line she laid down. Everyone supporting her in her me entitlement should be ashamed of themselves. Fight on. Look, I am totally in your corner. Getting your money back is the justice you deserve, but you had better do your homework because you will likely have a lot to prove in court, especially with no contract. I feel like you are going to need to go into lots of detail about your health conditions and prove how it was affecting your hair, and then prove how a haircut helped with that. Then you'll probably need to prove all the things you paid for. I'm also trying to imagine how your opponents may argue against you. Someone could pose the argument that you didn't give your friend enough time to respond. She is likely busy and stressed a few days before her wedding. The bride may insist something like, if y'all given me a bit more time, I would have responded, and we could have come to a solution between us without you immediately jumping to a lawsuit. I am with you in spirit, but I'm sure court can be tricky, so think about this from as many angles as you can to prepare yourself for this case. Good luck. 3.